that was a goal that I always had. And I wanted to somehow, some way transition from adult to more mainstream and get good reception and traction to a point where I was just welcomed and not, I was welcomed and not, it didn't sit like awkwardly because people were like, well, you put them in a setting that it works. Like, wait a minute. I've been the hero for the last however many years by guys on the street that say, dude, you're my fucking hero. You know, you have sex with these beautiful women, or, you know, you're so cool and you're this and you're that. And I go, I don't know how cool I am, but to them, they think I'm a hero. So maybe if I was in a hero movie, action hero, whatever. And again, I pride myself on being physically fit and whatnot. And truth be told is, you know, if I trained for one of these movies and I managed to get in Expendables 6 or whatnot, would people scratch their head and go, nah, I'm not buying it. Tommy Gunn, he's like an oddball, get him out of there. Or would he go, what? Dude, he's swinging in and shooting people, cutting necks and kicking doors down. I buy it. I don't know.
I'm going to that movie.
You know what I mean? I'll be
you.
seeing that one, right? And again, who knows? It's just it's funny to laugh at.
I think now, and I'll get your opinion on this. I think now would be more. Now, 20 years ago when you're talking, I know.
Yeah.
I think now we're to a point though, and I was curious to get your perspective on where the industry's gone now, because now, I mean, you were during the classic age of making those feature film
the big movies.
Now there's the internet, there's
so many
apps and OnlyFans, and you go on Instagram now, and it's basically softcore stuff on all the social media platforms constantly. So I'm like, I bring that up to say now I don't think it's out of the realm of questioning. It would be more acceptable today in Hollywood to start going the mainstream route.
Sure.
It's like someone needs to. It eventually will happen. I mean, especially with like the reverse is happening with like the OnlyFans of certain people that already have celebrity, and then they start doing that. So that's kind of someone just needs to break the industry to be the first one, essentially.
And that was my goal. I was like, man, can I do it? That's, you know, that was kind of one of my things. Like, can I like break that mold?
Because there's undoubtedly that stigma's there. Like, and you understand, like, they're probably looking at the numbers, like, you know, we want this to be a family movie and this might hurt. Well, that's or something like that. But like,
is Expendables or is Fast and Furious or is you know, on and on and on, those types of genre movies, action, shooting guns, Statham.
They're killing people.
I mean, come on, right? They're killing people.
It's rated
R.
R.
I show up and I swing through the door and shoot a couple guys too and do a flip and land and whatever. They're going to go, cut. What's he doing here? Get him out of here. No, they would be like, wait, they would go, oh my God, fuck. It's about time. You know, unless again, I'm delusional. It's possible. Who knows, right? But we're not trying to. You know, I've heard that multiple times throughout my years. Man, you're such a man's man. You're so this and that, and guy fans are like, dude, you're cool. It's this and you're that and whatever. And I don't know. I think what happens is sometimes there's a male type of behavioral thing where, you know, guys, similar to women, you know, pretty girls see another pretty girl and they got that. I don't like her. You're like, why? You don't even know her, right? It's just threatening, or it's something, right? Maybe that happens. Maybe I'm like, hey, you know, I'd like to be in your movie, and they're like, he looks better than half of us guys. Nah, we don't want him around, or something. Maybe.
No, that could absolutely be a thing.
Because it's a male thing.
Yeah.
It's a male, and it's happened to me quite often in my life, in my career, in multiple capacities. I've been invited to the party, metaphorically. Oh, invite him. He'll bring chicks. He knows them all. Or don't invite him because he'll screw all the girls while we're partying. And I'll be like, that's not. But you see what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Is that, you know, And like, I've been on, I was on Sons of Anarchy. I was a background little player and day player, just kind of in the distance or whatnot. And, you know, at the time I was working out and I was like, how can I get from the back to the front and be like, and have a casting person say, what the fuck's he doing in the back? Bring him up to the front. Throw a vest on this guy. Let's get him tatted up, put him on a, and now he's like a regular because he fits. And people know him. And it's all about ratings and getting people to watch something. It's called butts in the seat. There was a reference years ago. We need butts in the seat, right? Well, if after 20 years of me working in all these medias, for example, magazines, DVDs, internet, cable, all these other outlets of how to see the footage. You know, I've been to Italy and Prague and anywhere around the world, and people are like, dude, what? Tommy Gunn and whatever. And I'm not trying to blow smoke up my own ass. I'm just telling you what they said. I didn't.
Yeah.
I just showed up and they said, stand here. And I did. And they said, say these lines. And I said them. And then I had sex with a pretty girl and did good at it. And maybe some guys just can't, you know, they're like, I don't know. Because everybody wants to be good in bed and be good with the opposite sex or whatever they're into or whatever. That's what you inspire to be, right? Men, women, they want to be good at doing those things, right? I think. Maybe I'm confused.
It drives the world.
It drives the world.
It drives
it's true.
sex. Drives the
Wars
world.
have been started over stuff like that. Yeah.
Right? I mean, so when I show up, or maybe I am potentially on the roster, like, oh, we could have him. Someone goes, we don't want him because he'll make half of us look stupid. Maybe. I don't know. Or he can't act to save his life. Or maybe I can't. But you're going to tell me that everybody else in Hollywood that's acting and doing these movies or whatever are some like thespian, Juilliard, fucking whatever? No, I don't think so.
All right, here's a question for you, Tommy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How many terrible actors have we seen? And they're still working.
There's a place for you in Hollywood.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm not trying to throw stones at anybody, but I mean, I don't know.
Eric, you had a question?
I have a question. So, like, you know,
what do I know?
No, I think you're onto something.
would you be willing to, start at the bottom,
Of
doing
course.
all like the student fit, like
I would
basically coming
love
out
to.
here being like going to an acting school, like getting in like low budget student films where
I would
everyone's,
love to, man. I
like
would
paying like
love to.
$100 just for catering, and you just
Totally.
work your way up the ranks and just
Sure.
be like, yo, I'm making this happen. And then just,
I would love to. A couple guys go, hey man, we love you, but we're trying to do this, and you never know who's the next.
exactly. Yeah. Anything. Yeah. Director.
Tarantino. Or,
Right.
You never know who's the next. And he goes, man, I really appreciate it, man. You came out and you fucking acted, did nothing. You didn't ask for anything, and you hung out. And we had a ball and we laughed. And when the day comes and I'm finally in that position, I'm going to pick you. And that's what happens. They do that. That's how it works. That's why you see repeatedly the same director use the same guys over and over and over, because they're likable and they get along well and they work. And I feel like I'm a likable guy. I don't think I'm some special whatever. I'm not like, oh, I'm not coming out of my dressing room unless whatever. I would, I've worked opposite of Stephen Bauer. I've worked opposite of Michael Pare and Lucas Till. And again, these aren't, but somebody felt confident enough to say, put him in. He's good. I got 20 years of camera time.
I was going to say
I was
that.
just about to say
it's like
that.
you're not
Yeah.
shy in front of a camera.
You can't
Call
make
it
that
what you
up.
want to call it,
Yeah.
and in the most intimate capacity,
Yeah.
like with my asshole up in the fucking air and my balls or whatever. I mean, I'm being comical about it, but
If you can perform that, you can perform some lines.
I think, and again, a lot of times in our world, in adult, they just rush us through the dialogue because that's not what's important. Let's get through that. We got some sex to have. And okay, I'm fine. I get it. But in mainstream, you give you more time and you work on the delivery and let's try it again. And I love that stuff. I've always loved that stuff. I'm like, hey, Brad, you mind if we go again? Because I feel like I got a better one. And now that I got the vibe I got the what do you call that?
Rhythm of
The
it. Or
rhythm,
something?
yeah. We've been, we blocked it out. I come through the door. On the script is one thing. You get to the physical place, and it's entirely different. You come out of the thing. You blah blah blah. How are we shooting this? This that this. I know not to talk and walk, or walk and talk. The same thing, right? I'm not going to make noise with my keys while I'm in dialogue. I know these things. I'm not going to shadow this guy because that doesn't work. So I know it's the same. I believe it's the same fundamentals that when you're on set and you're shooting and you're doing these things, it's the same thing. It ain't like I would show up on a set in a mainstream movie. We'd shoot the whole movie and then we go to the editing and he's like, he's not there. He's just didn't show up on camera like a vampire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where the fuck he's it's the same thing.
Well, and I think today more than ever, with the amount of independent film that's being shot, like with the technology and everything,
anybody could put together.
Apple, Netflix, Amazon. It's not just the main studios anymore. That in the past,
studios I
think a lot more people that are producing independently would be way more open-minded. And anyone listening or watching, what I would say is, come with built-in audience too.
That's what I'm saying. At the end of the day,
they're going to come support you because they love you.
All I got to do is say, "Hey guys, come see me over there," and they'll be like, "Let's do it." And again, if you want, I give you links to these things. Wolves, Gangsterland, Spartacus was an adult, but it looks like $1 million. Pirates 1 and 2, and all these other things. Again, I've proved myself over and over again in these capacities. It's just when the scene called for it, we took our clothes off and went the next step and had sex in context with the story and made it believable enough to where Richard Dreyfuss would tell me I'm a good actor. I don't know.
I think the tough part is the action movies traditionally have a higher budget and stuff. So it's like you're less likely to see a bunch of small independent action movies because they can't compete with that thrill and stuff. But like, would you be interested in other styles of just like psychological thrillers and stuff like that?
Anything that's challenging, I'd love to do it. Or even they call that, what do they call that when it's you're cast against something?
Oh, yeah. What is that?
Yeah.
Playing against your type or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
Again, if whoever said, "Hey, why don't you be a school teacher?" I've been a school teacher plenty of times. You know what I mean? Or a doctor, or a fireman, or a policeman,
plumber, electrician.
Again, I kid, but
no,
at the end of the day,
it's acting.
You cannot begrudge me the 20 years I've been in front of the camera. You can't.
And you shot actual films too. I think people need to know the difference between the adult stuff that's shot now, a lot of it, to what the stuff you were doing.
We do now.
You guys were shooting actual movies.
Yeah,
like
we shot on film actually with Vivid years ago in 2003, 4, 5 with Paul Thomas, and we actually shot on film.
And I think the Pirates movie, correct me if I'm wrong, that is the most successful adult movie of all time, or something like it's up there.
It was hailed one of the biggest Hollywood adult productions ever. 1 and 2, Pirates 1 and Pirates 2, Stagnetti's Revenge. Stagnetti was my character. And again, it was hailed as such a big movie in Japan that the rated R version was played and families came out and watched it or whatever. It ended up in Blockbuster, a rated R version.
Wow.
I remember seeing it when the days of Blockbuster existed.
Yeah.
And again, at the end of the day, like I said, I'm not asking for anything that's like outlandish. Like I want to direct I want to direct Leonardo DiCaprio and all these guys. Okay, that might be a little strange, but I just want to be one of the 20 bananas on the bunch.
You just want an opportunity.
I mean,
just a shot.
Why not? Or, put me in a capacity where even like a cameo, like in something that's that genre where the lead is whatever and he's friends with him. Like, hey, how's it been? I don't know. It's all about it's timing. Yeah, I get it. It's if I could get connected with the the Seth Rogen and that camp, and them guys be like, dude, we know who you are, man.
You're totally going to be in our
cool
movie.
Shit, bring them on. Why not? We'll have a laugh. You smoke? Yeah, come on. What do whatever. I don't know.
We're putting it out in the universe, like it's, yeah.
It's not going to make your movie flop. Like, oh, the fucking movie was great up until we saw him, and right. We want our money back.
Right. If anything, it's going to bring more eyeballs and people purchasing.
At the end of the day, and someone has to have the cojones to be like, fuck it, I want him in the movie. I don't care who says what.
And Eric's right. Like once one person does it, then it's like when the first person ran the 4-minute mile. For years, no one had done it. But the second that person ran the 4-minute mile, everyone starts running the 4-minute mile.
There were some moments in our industry where we've had some crossover. James Dean did a movie called The Canyons with
Lindsay Lohan.
Lindsay
right?
Lohan.
Yep.
So that was a little bit there. Sasha Grey, Entourage, The Girlfriend Experience, Steven Soderbergh. I kind of got in that mix in Entourage. I played Sasha Grey's ex-fiance. So when it's time for Hollywood to, I guess, fill those shoes, they look over our fence and go, let's have them come over. Sure, right?
Yeah, and when it makes sense for them.
When it makes sense for them,
yeah,
they dip into that pool, right? But the problem I see is, as long as if you're playing a stripper or a male porn star or whatever, and that's all you're doing, you're not accomplishing anything.
Yeah, you're just perpetuating.
You're just perpetuating.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you're like, oh, let's get Tommy Gunn to play he's a lawyer and he's going to be a lawyer and he's in the court and he's whatever, and you lose, people start looking at him in a different capacity because he's doing the gig and he's handling the job and he's convincing and but you gotta give him, someone has to say, let's work with him. Let's have him, he's not gonna, again.
And I was listening to the last show you were on, one of the last shows you were on, and you said you are looking for an agent still, or you'd like to get representation?
I'd love to, but I had an episode once. I went to an agency. I can't remember it, but the story goes, and it was kind of disheartening. I got advised and referred to from somebody, and they said, go see this guy over at this such and such and such and such. It's usually 2 names, right? Such and such and such and such agency. And I went there by a reference of this gentleman who was, I think, maybe represented by him or his wife was or something. And he said, so what's up? What are you trying to do? And I went in, had an appointment. I dressed nice, like I was going to court, I said, I'm trying to get representation. I'd like to pursue some acting, and I believe I can do it. And everything's like, acting is like a doctor, you're constantly practicing. You're never at a fucking, it's a constant thing, right? It's a craft and whatnot, unless you're like Daniel Day-Lewis, you don't have to, right? But he said, so you're trying to be, I said, yeah, I'd like to do some acting. He goes, well, it's going to be tough with your background. And I said, what is my background? Like, did I shoot someone or I'm like, he says, no, the porn thing. He says, yeah, it's going to be tough. He said, we typically vote by a committee, so it would be a board of people voting. He said, so I don't think it's going to happen. He says, but if you're ever shooting on a set and it's something I might like to come, you can invite me. I'd love to come check it out. It'd be cool. And I was like, inside, I was like, Dick.
Right.
Like, you know, I don't know, whatever. And I said, okay. And I just thought, that's strange. Okay, fine.
What year was this? What year was
This was, God, probably 15 years ago.
15 years ago.
Anyway, it's someone has to just think to themselves, like, and I even said that on my buddy's thing. I said, if you're an agent and you're out there and you think you're good, and maybe you are, I don't know, take me on. I challenge you to take me on. If you're that good, then you should have no problem taking me on. I'm not asking you to, it's not like I'm some, I don't know, I fill in the blanks of someone that you just like couldn't represent, because it would be like,